The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the TCS Nemesis as it emerged from faster-than-light travel, its hull bearing the marks of countless battles. The massive human battleship, nearly 3 kilometers in length, cast an imposing shadow against the distant stars. Its dark metal surface reflected the light of a nearby binary system, the scars along its plating telling stories of survival and triumph. Captain Li Jinwu stood motionless at the command center, his weathered hands resting on the holographic console. Decades of space warfare had etched lines into his face, each wrinkle a testament to battles won and comrades lost. The bridge crew worked in practiced silence, their movements precise and purposeful. "Status report," Jinwu commanded, his voice carrying the weight of authority earned through years of service. First Officer Kim Hana's fingers danced across her console, her eyes scanning the incoming data streams. "All systems operational, Captain. Hull integrity at 92%. FTL drive cooling as expected." She paused, her posture stiffening as new information appeared. "Sir, multiple contacts detected on approach vector. Energy signatures unknown. Nothing matching our database." The captain's eyes narrowed. This sector was supposed to be empty, a neutral zone between known territories. "Show me," he ordered. The main view screen shimmered to life, displaying a formation of sleek vessels unlike anything in human records. Their designs were organic, almost fluid, with sweeping curves and iridescent hulls that seemed to shift colors in the starlight. 15 ships, Captain. Tactical Officer Park Min-ho reported. Configuration suggests a military escort formation. Their technology, it's advanced, but different from anything we've encountered. Jinwu studied the approaching vessels, years of experience telling him something wasn't right. Communications. No response to standard greetings across all frequencies. Communications specialist Yoon Jia answered, her fingers working frantically across her station. "Wait. Picking up energy spikes. They're charging weapons." Before Jinwu could respond, space itself seemed to bend as energy beams lanced out from the alien vessels. The shots were precise, calculated to pass just close enough to demonstrate power without causing damage. A traditional warning shot in most cultures. But they didn't understand what they were dealing with. The Nemesis's AI, Sen Tainiel, spoke through the bridge speakers, its voice calm and measured. "Unknown weapon signatures detected. Analysis suggests directed energy weapons, roughly equivalent to our Mark Iowa defense systems. Threat level, moderate." Jinwu's expression remained unchanged, but his grip on the console tightened. "They don't know what we are," he said quietly. "Show me their command ship." The screen zoomed in on the largest vessel in the formation. Its design was even more elaborate than its escorts, with what appeared to be ceremonial markings along its hull. This wasn't just a military force. This was a statement of authority. "Sir," Hana interjected, "we're receiving a transmission." Text only, translated by Sen Tainiel. The message appeared on their screens. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Galactic Council space. Power down your systems and prepare for inspection. Resistance will be met with appropriate force." A small smile played across Jinwu's lips, not one of amusement, but of grim recognition. He'd seen this before. The arrogance of power, the assumption of superiority. They didn't realize they were facing a ship from Earth, a vessel built by creatures who had evolved on a death world, who had survived extinction events and countless wars. "Send no response," he ordered. "Tactical, analyze their weak points. Engineering, bring the main drives to full power but keep them cold. Let's show them what happens when you challenge a Terran battleship." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, each member understanding the gravity of what was about to unfold. The alien vessels, interpreting the silence as defiance, began to move into attack positions. They couldn't have known that their warning shots had just triggered a sequence of events that would reshape galactic politics forever. They couldn't have known that the scurred vessel before them was merely the tip of humanity's martial prowess. They couldn't have known that this day would be remembered as the moment the galaxy learned to fear the children of Earth. The Nemesis's engines began to hum with power, its ancient battle scars seeming to pulse with renewed purpose. Captain Lee Jinwoo straightened his uniform and gave the order that would echo through history. Battle stations. Park Do-hyun sat in the dimly lit archives section of the TCS Nemesis, surrounded by holographic displays showing Earth's violent history. As the ship's historian, he had dedicated his life to understanding why advanced alien civilizations gave Earth's sector such a wide berth. The answer was written in blood, fire, and survival. The door slid open with a soft hiss as Captain Lee Jinwoo entered. "The Council fleet is still following us," he said, his voice tight with contained tension. "I need perspective. Historian, what are we dealing with?" Do-hyun gestured to the displays around him, and the images shifted to show various alien worlds. "Look at these planets, Captain. The Council species evolved in paradise. The holograms showed worlds with gentle gravity, predictable weather, and abundant resources. Their ancestors never had to fight for survival every single day." He waved his hand, and the images changed to Earth, storms ravaging coastlines, volcanoes spewing fire into the sky, ice ages grinding across continents. But us, we came from this, a world that tried to kill us every chance it got. The historian pulled up more data, his eyes reflecting the glow of the displays. Most Council species evolved from herd animals or peaceful gatherers. But humans, we descended from persistence hunters. Our ancestors chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We're one of the few species that can cool ourselves through sweating, that can keep running when others must rest. Jinwoo watched as images of early human hunts played out before them. "And this matters now because..." "It matters because it's in our DNA," Do-hyun explained, standing to face his captain. "While other species learn to avoid danger, we learn to overcome it. When faced with a predator, they evolve to run. We evolve to kill it and use its fur to keep warm." The displays shifted again, showing human warfare through the ages. "Look at our history of conflict. Other species fight over resources or territory. But humans, we turned warfare into an art form. We're the only known species that created weapons specifically to kill our own kind, then turned those same weapons into tools for peace." Do-hyun pulled up data on the Council races. "Their ships are beautiful, their weapons elegant, but they've never had to adapt or die. Never had to eat bitter roots to learn which ones wouldn't kill them. Never had to throw rocks at bigger predators until they learned to make spears. When the first alien scouts found Earth centuries ago, they saw our nuclear weapons, our constant wars, our ability to survive in nearly any environment. And they marked our sector as forbidden territory. Not because we were too primitive." Do-hyun paused, letting the weight of history settle in the room, "but because they recognized what we were, apex predators who had conquered a death world." The historian turned to a final display showing the Nemesis itself. "This ship isn't just a vessel, Captain. It's the product of everything that made us human. Every battle scar on its hull is a testament to our species' greatest strength, our ability to take a punch, learn from it, and hit back harder." Jinwoo nodded slowly, understanding dawning in his eyes. "And the Council has never faced anything like us." "No," Do-hyun agreed. "They see our battle damage and think we're weak. They don't understand that every scar on this ship represents a lesson learned, an adaptation made. We don't just survive encounters, we evolve from them." The captain turned to leave, but paused at the door. "How do you think this will end, historian?" Do-hyun's expression was grim. "The Council thinks they're teaching us a lesson, but they're about to learn one instead. Why every species that truly understands Earth's history has one universal policy." He looked up at the captain. "Never, ever corner a human." As if to emphasize his point, the ship's battle alarms began to sound. The Council fleet was closing in, unaware they were about to learn firsthand why humanity's reputation echoed through the darker corners of space. They were about to understand why Earth's shadow stretched so far across the galaxy, and why those who knew better chose to stay in the light. High Counselor Yang Meirei stood in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, her ornate robes shimmering under the light of 1,000 stars visible through the transparent dome above. The emergency session had been called the moment the unknown vessel appeared in Council space, and now the oldest members were trying to warn her of its origin. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," Elder Counselor Rax spoke, his ancient voice trembling. "That ship bears the markings of Earth. We must not engage." Meirei's laughter echoed through the chamber. "Earth, that primitive death world we quarantined centuries ago. Look at their ship. It's damaged, barely holding together. One vessel against our mighty fleet." The holograms in the center of the chamber showed the Nemesis, its battle-scarred hull a stark contrast to the sleek council vessels surrounding it. Meirei walked around the display, studying it with disdain. "High Counselor," another elder spoke up, "there are reasons we never colonized that sector. Their world, it broke every colonizing fleet we sent. Not through technology, but through sheer enough." Meirei's voice cut through the chamber. "I will not have the Council's authority questioned by ghost stories and superstition. Deploy the fleet. Show these humans the price of trespassing in our space." The command center erupted into activity. Officers relayed orders to the fleet commanders, their fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Meirei watched with satisfaction as her ships moved into attack formation. "First warning shots have been fired," an officer reported. The human vessel remained silent. Meirei smiled. "Of course they're silent. They're probably trying to figure out how to surrender without losing face." She turned to address the chamber. "Watch now, as we remind the galaxy why the Council." Her words died in her throat as the tactical display exploded with activity. The Nemesis, which had appeared so dormant, suddenly moved with impossible speed. Before anyone could react, 3 Council capital ships simply ceased to exist. "What happened?" Meirei demanded, her composure cracking. "What weapons did they use?" The tactical officers stared at their displays in shock. No energy signatures detected, no projectiles, no beam weapons. They redirected our own warning shots, the Elder Counselor whispered. "Used our own energy against us. That's why they let us fire first." New data streamed into the chamber. The Nemesis was moving again, its damaged exterior now revealing itself to be an elaborate deception. Panels shifted, revealing weapon systems unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. "All ships, open fire," Meirei screamed, panic finally breaking through her pride. "Destroy that vessel." But the Council fleet's weapons seemed to bend around the Nemesis, creating patterns in space itself before disappearing into nothingness. The human ship moved like a predator among prey, each motion calculated and lethal. "Now you see," the Elder Counselor said softly, watching as more Council ships disappeared from the tactical display. "We avoided Earth not because they were primitive, but because they were too advanced. Their damaged ship, those aren't battle scars, they're trophies. Every mark represents a lesson learned, a victory earned." Meirei watched in horror as her mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by a single vessel. The Nemesis hadn't even deployed its main weapons yet. This was merely a demonstration. "What have I done?" she whispered, finally understanding the gravity of her mistake. "What have I awakened?" The Elder Counselor's response was drowned out by new alarms. The Nemesis was powering up its primary systems, and the energy readings were beyond anything their sensors could comprehend. "Now," the Elder said, "you will learn why we left Earth alone. Why we warned our children never to venture into their space. The humans don't just wage war, they perfect it. And you, High Counselor, have just reminded them why they built ships like the Nemesis in the first place." The chamber fell silent as they watched the true power of humanity begin to unfold before them. Their pride had blinded them to the simple truth. Sometimes, the most dangerous predators are the ones that don't look threatening at all. Commander Choi Sang-min sat in the neural interface chamber, his mind merging with ARIA, the artificial intelligence that was the true heart of the Nemesis. Unlike the basic computers used by the Council species, ARIA was alive. A digital consciousness born from humanity's understanding that true artificial intelligence needed to be raised, not just programmed. They're still pursuing. Aria's voice echoed in Sang-min's mind, her presence warm and familiar. Their fleet formation suggests they expect us to behave like a conventional warship. Sang-min smiled as holographic displays materialized around him, showing the Council ships in pursuit. Their weapons were charging, their movements predictable. They see our battle scars and think we're wounded prey, he said, watching the tactical projections ARIA created. Should we educate them? Their understanding of technology is limited, ARIA replied, a hint of amusement in her digital voice. They believe a ship's hull should be static, unchanging. They've never conceived of living metal. The commander's neural link deepened, and he felt the Nemesis as if it were his own body. Every plate, every circuit, every weapon system became an extension of himself, guided by Aria's vast consciousness. Let's show them what we can do. The transformation began slowly at first. Across the Nemesis's hull, what appeared to be battle damage began to shift. Plates that seemed scared and broken flowed like liquid metal, revealing pristine surfaces underneath. The Council ship's sensors detected the change, and their formation faltered. They're scanning us, Aria reported. Their confusion is entertaining. They've never seen metamorphic alloys before. Sang-min directed the ship's evolution through his neural link. Hidden weapon ports emerged from seemingly solid hull plating. Sensor arrays unfolded like blooming flowers made of metal and energy. The entire outer shell of the Nemesis rippled in change, revealing its true form, not a damaged warship, but a technological marvel that made the Council's most advanced vessels look like primitive constructs. Their flagship is attempting to communicate, Aria announced. They're demanding to know how we're violating the laws of physics. Laws of physics, Sang-min laughed. We didn't violate them. We just learned to read the fine print. Through their shared consciousness, Commander and AI guided the Nemesis through its complete transformation. The once scarred battleship now gleamed with power, its true form revealing technologies that humanity had kept hidden from the galaxy. Quantum arrays that could bend space itself, dark matter manipulators that defied conventional understanding, and weapons that didn't just destroy. They rewrote reality. Council vessels are powering up their main weapons, Aria reported. They still think this is a battle they can win with conventional force. Sang-min felt a twinge of pity for their pursuers. They don't understand, do they? That everything they've seen so far was just us being polite. The Council ships opened fire, their energy weapons lancing through space toward the Nemesis. But the transformed vessel didn't dodge. Instead, its living metal skin absorbed the attacks, converting the energy into power for its own systems. Shall we respond? Aria asked, though she already knew the answer. Through their neural link, Sang-min and Aria activated just one of the Nemesis's newly revealed weapons. A small portion of the hull shifted, forming a crystalline structure that seemed to draw in light itself. There was no beam, no explosion, no conventional display of force. Instead, space itself seemed to hiccup around 3 of the pursuing Council ships. When reality settled back into place, those ships were simply gone. Message sent, Sang-min said quietly, though I doubt they'll understand it. Aria's presence in his mind was contemplative. They see our technology as magic because they never had to develop it. They never had to survive what Earth threw at us. Never had to merge human and machine consciousness just to stay alive. Together, they watched as the remaining Council ships struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. The Nemesis hung in space, its true form finally revealed, not just a ship, but a testament to humanity's greatest achievement. The ability to take its greatest fears and forge them into its greatest strengths. Navigation Officer Kang Jae-yun's fingers danced across the quantum navigation array as the Nemesis sliced through space-time itself. Stars streaked past like rain on a windshield as she plotted the ship's course through increasingly impossible trajectories. The pursuing Council fleet struggled to keep pace, their conventional drives straining against the laws of physics as they understood them. Status report, Captain Jinwoo commanded from his position on the bridge. 7 Council capital ships still in pursuit. Jae-yun reported, her eyes never leaving the shifting holographic displays. They're attempting to predict our jump patterns. Failing, of course. A small smile played across her lips as she executed another reality-bending maneuver. The Nemesis dove through the heart of a binary star system, its advanced shields shrugging off solar flares that would have vaporized lesser ships. Jae-yun had calculated the passage perfectly, close enough to the stars to make pursuit seem suicidal, but well within the Nemesis's capabilities. They're still following, she announced, monitoring the Council ships as they attempted to copy her course. 2 of their vessels strayed too close to the solar winds, their shields flaring dangerously. They're learning, but not fast enough. The chase had led them through 7 star systems now, each jump more daring than the last. Jae-yun's navigation style wasn't just about avoiding capture. It was a demonstration. Every impossible turn, every physics-defying leap through space showed the Council exactly how outmatched they were. Entering the Maelstrom Nebula, Jae-yun called out as the ship plunged into a swirling mass of cosmic gases and newborn stars. Here, conventional navigation was suicide. The gravimetric forces alone could tear a ship apart. But Jae-yun didn't rely on conventional navigation. Her console interfaced directly with the ship's quantum sensors, allowing her to see possibilities rather than just realities. Where others saw chaos, she saw patterns. Where they saw obstacles, she saw opportunities. Council ships are spreading out, Tactical reported. They're trying to box us in. Jae-yun actually laughed at that. They still think in 3 dimensions, she said, her hands already moving to implement her next maneuver. Shall we show them what 4-dimensional navigation looks like? Captain Jinwoo nodded, understanding the plan without needing explanation. The Nemesis wasn't running. It was teaching. Each impossible escape was a lesson in human ingenuity. The ship dove into a space-time eddy, something that shouldn't exist according to Council science. Jae-yun guided them through the quantum turbulence with the precision of a surgeon, using the fabric of reality itself as a weapon. The pursuing fleet's sensors would show the Nemesis in multiple places simultaneously, each reading equally real and equally false. They're firing blind now, Jae-yun reported with satisfaction. Their targeting systems can't handle quantum superposition. She executed another series of jumps, each one bringing them closer to their true destination. 3 more ships have lost our trail completely. The remaining Council vessels pressed on, their determination admirable but futile. They couldn't understand that this chase wasn't about escape, it was about education. Each time they thought they had the Nemesis cornered, Jae-yun would reveal another level of human advancement in space travel. Final jump plotting complete, she announced as the ship prepared for its masterstroke. Ready to execute on your command, Captain. The Nemesis paused for just a moment, hanging in space like a predator about to strike. The Council fleet moved to surround them, thinking they had finally trapped their prey. They never saw the real trap until it was too late. They're exactly where we want them, Jae-yun said quietly, her fingers poised over the controls. One last lesson in human navigation. The command came, and the Nemesis performed its most impossible maneuver yet, one that would make the Council question everything they thought they knew about space travel. The hunt was ending, but the real demonstration was about to begin. Chief Engineer Yoon Tae-ho stood in the heart of the Nemesis's engine room, his hands hovering over the quantum core controls. The massive chamber pulsed with barely contained power, technologies that humanity had kept hidden from the galaxy for centuries. The pursuing Council fleet had finally cornered them against a stellar nursery, exactly where they wanted to be. All primary systems online. Taiho reported through the ship's comm. Quantum core stable. Living metal matrix at full capacity. Area integration complete. He paused, allowing himself a small smile. Ready to demonstrate, Captain. The Council ships had arranged themselves in an attack formation, their weapons charged and aimed at the Nemesis. They thought they had trapped a wounded animal. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Begin the sequence. Captain Jinwoo's voice came through the comm. Show them what humanity's been holding back. Taiho's fingers moved across the controls with practiced precision. The ship's hull began to pulse with an inner light, the living metal flowing like liquid mercury. Energy readings that the Council's sensors couldn't even begin to comprehend started emanating from the Nemesis. First stage initiated, Taiho announced. The quantum core's output doubled, then tripled, defying the known laws of physics, revealing primary defense grid. The ship's outer layer transformed, revealing crystalline structures that seemed to bend light itself. Council weapons fire simply ceased to exist as it approached, the energy absorbed and redirected into the Nemesis's own systems. They're increasing power to their weapons, Tactical reported. Still no effect. Taiho moved to the second phase, activating dimensional shifters. The space around the Nemesis began to ripple as reality itself bent to the ship's will. Quantum field stable, ready for full demonstration. What happened next would rewrite the Council's understanding of warfare forever. The Nemesis didn't just fight back. It changed the rules of combat itself. Reality flickered around the ship as it existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Weapon systems that had remained dormant now awakened, making the ship's earlier displays of power look like mere tricks. By the stars, one of the Council commanders transmitted. What are they? Taiho's voice was calm as he reported, all systems performing within expected parameters. Reality manipulation grid holding steady. Dark matter containment at optimal levels. The Nemesis released a pulse of energy that didn't destroy the Council ships. It simply rewrote the space around them. 3 vessels found themselves existing partly in another dimension. 2 more discovered their weapons had been transformed into abstract concepts rather than physical objects. Final sequence authorized, Captain Jinwoo commanded. Show them everything. Taiho took a deep breath and activated the ship's ultimate systems. The quantum core's song reached a fever pitch as the Nemesis revealed what humanity had achieved, while the galaxy wasn't looking. Technologies born from surviving a death world, from countless wars, from the merger of human innovation and artificial intelligence. Space itself seemed to hold its breath as the Nemesis demonstrated power that the Council had thought impossible. Their mighty fleet, the pride of their civilization, hung helpless before a single human vessel that had finally stopped pretending to be less than it was. Demonstration complete, Taiho reported as the quantum core settled into a steady hum. All systems nominal. The Council ships hung motionless in space, their crews trying to process what they had witnessed. Their sensors were overwhelmed, their weapons proven useless, their understanding of physics and warfare shattered in the span of minutes. The lesson was clear. Humanity hadn't been hiding in their sector out of fear. They had been containing themselves, holding back, waiting to see if the galaxy would leave them in peace. The Council had chosen war instead, and now they understood what that truly meant. Engineer Yun Taiho looked at the readings from the Council ships, their power systems in disarray, their crews in shock, their mighty weapons reduced to little more than scrap metal. He allowed himself another small smile as he realized. This was just the beginning of their education. Ambassador Song Minji walked into the vast council chamber with measured steps, her simple Terran diplomatic uniform a stark contrast to the ornate robes of the alien representatives. The massive room, usually filled with debate and discussion, sat in complete silence. Many council members still bore the haunted looks of those who had witnessed the Nemesis demonstration firsthand. High Council, Minji began, her voice carrying easily through the hushed chamber. I stand before you today, not as a conqueror, but as a reminder. She paused, letting her gaze meet each council member's eyes, a reminder of what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. The chamber's holographic displays showed footage from the recent encounter. The Nemesis transforming, reality bending around it, council ships rendered helpless by technologies they couldn't comprehend. High Counselor Yang Mai, her previous arrogance replaced by understanding, watched from her seat with newfound respect and fear. For centuries, humanity kept to its sector, Minji continued. We built our ships, advanced our technology, and asked only to be left in peace. We knew what we were capable of. We chose restraint. She gestured to the footage playing around them. The Nemesis was not a warship. It was a diplomatic vessel, designed to make first contact. Those battle scars you saw, badges of honor from defending civilian colonies from genuine threats. We came to open dialogue. You chose to open fire. The elder counselor, who had warned against engaging the humans, spoke up, his voice trembling. What are your terms, Ambassador? Minji smiled, not unkindly, but with the confidence of someone holding all the cards. Peace, the same peace we sought before, but now with understanding. She activated a holographic display of her own, showing Earth's sector. You will recognize our territory. You will respect our boundaries. And most importantly, you will remember. The display shifted to show the Nemesis, now restored to its true form, no longer hiding its capabilities. Remember that we didn't build this ship for war. We built it because we survived a world that tried to kill us every day. Remember that every technology you saw wasn't developed for conquest. It was developed because we had to adapt or die. The council members shifted uncomfortably as Minji continued. Your species evolved in paradise. You never had to outthink predators, survive ice ages, or unite against extinction-level threats. You never had to become more than what you were. We did, every single day of our evolution. She moved to the center of the chamber, her presence commanding attention. The treaty I propose is simple: mutual respect, open trade, and shared knowledge, within reason. We'll help you advance, guide you through the technologies you're ready for, but cross us again. She let the threat hang unspoken. The council voted unanimously to accept the terms. As Minji left the chamber, she heard the whispers already beginning. Stories of the Nemesis, of human capabilities, of the species that had turned survival into an art form. The legend was already growing. Years later, young aliens would learn about the day humanity revealed itself fully to the galaxy. They would hear about the ship that could bend reality, the humans who had mastered technologies their own scientists thought impossible. Parents would warn their children, be careful of Earth's sector. They don't want war, but they've mastered it. They are not what they seem. And in distant space, the Nemesis continued its mission of diplomacy, its battle scars worn proudly, a reminder to all who saw it. Humanity had not just survived Earth, they had conquered it. And in doing so, they had become something the galaxy had never seen before. Apex predators who chose peace, but excelled at war. The galaxy would never be the same, but perhaps, Minji thought as she returned to her ship, that was exactly what it needed.